Okay, hey, I am going to kind of talk about how to graph some of these lines in this house with restrictions. So if, for example, you can't see me moving my hand, but if you touch that house on the left by the number 7, it'll turn the house off and on again. This house has the walls and the floor and the, excuse me, roof already graphed. We need to add more things like the chimney, the windows, the doors, stuff like that. So one option is to think about, because we're graphing a lot of horizontal and vertical lines, I'm going to think about horizontal ones right now, sideways, like y equals lines. If I think about the highest one that's graphed at all is probably the top of the chimney, and that actually looks like something like y equals 3.5. Whoops, 3.5. Pretty close to the top of the chimney. Now, that line that's red that I just graphed goes forever in both directions, and the chimney does not. So, in order for us to put things on a graph that don't go forever, we have to place restrictions. In Desmos, the way we do that is with squiggly brackets, and we basically go from low to high. Now, since this graph is a horizontal line, you might see I'm moving along the line, but y is always 3.5, no matter what. Well, if I start thinking about that, it means that the x's are what's changing. So my y's are never changing, but my x's are. The smallest y looks like it's about negative 2.3, and the largest y looks like it's about negative 1.3. So in my curly brackets, I am going to write negative 2.3, oops, sorry, I don't usually use my iPad, is less than or equal to the x, which now if you see it has a lowest point, but it's going forever positive. I want it to stop though at negative 1.3. Oops, I typed that wrong. 1.3, that's 13. Also not okay. 1.3. Now it looks like it's pretty much on the top of the chimney. Now, if I wanted to do the next line down in the chimney, some of this stuff is going to repeat. It's not as high as 3.5. It kind of looks like it's about 3, maybe. And what I also know, though, is that the other stuff, like the things in the curly brackets, match. So if you're on a computer, it's really easy to copy and paste. You just highlight and copy. If you're on an iPad, you tend to have to retype it. But this would be the same. Negative 2.3 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to negative 1.3. If you're watching me do this, and as you might notice, these lines are coming and going as I'm graphing. If I move down on the chimney, and I think I'm just going to end up graphing the whole chimney here, this would be about y equals 2.5. That I typed wrong, and it's too low, obviously, if we're still trying to do like the third line on the chimney. So 2.5. It's pretty close. I still need to restrict it. The chimney does not go forever, so I'm going to have curly brackets. Looks like it's still starting at the same place, negative 2.3, which is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to, doesn't go as far on this one, all the way there. It looks like it actually goes to about 2. Sorry, that's positive 2. I mean negative 2. Nope, just kidding. Negative, let's go with 1.5. 15.5. If I turn off this house right here, you might see I've kind of got the stacks of the horizontal lines, and looking at that, maybe this should be a little bit less, like 1.55 maybe, or maybe 1.6 if I don't really want it to overlap. That looks a little better. So I'm going to turn the house back on, and if we think about it, we now have 3 of the lines in the chimney going sideways, and this chimney actually has 2 vertical lines that are framing it. Vertical lines are x equals. So if I just typed x equals a number like 5, I'm going to have a vertical line. That's not in the right place vertically. We actually need it to be over here on the left. And if you think about it, when we were graphing what we already graphed, we decided that the farthest left the chimney goes is negative 2.3. So that's a great place to have this. We also know the very top point. So if we're going to do restrictions here, they're slightly different. We do need curly brackets, but if you follow the line, the negative 2.3, the x is never changing. X is always that, but the y's are changing. The top y is 3.5, and the bottom y value is about negative 2, or about 1. No, 2. Let's try 2. So if we're going to do this, you do always start with small. 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 3.5. Not 35. 3. Oh, I'm sorry. These are y's. 3.5. Uh-oh. Hang on. I'm going to get this bigger again. 3.5. If I turn off my house, you might notice it looks like we're right up to the top. If you want to change colors, you can hold something down and make it match. There's one more vertical line. It's going to be another x equals line. I know that I had the top 2 horizontal lines going to over to negative 1.3, so I'm actually going to have this one equal negative 1.3 to match up with those. Again, the highest is 3.5. The lowest is actually is that bottom dot, which is, the bottom dot looks like 3. 2.76, sorry. So on this one, our curly brackets are going to go from 2.76 is going to be less than or equal to x. I'm sorry, y, which is less than or equal to 3.5. And there is an entire chimney. I hope that helps you figure out how to graph some of the other parts of this. I'm going to turn the house back on. I would suggest picking a shape like a window, and you're going to have vertical lines, which will be x equals. You'll have horizontal lines, which will be y equals, and we're restricting in the bars. We're deciding where these things stop and where they start.